So I wish that I could be with all of you in person at Georgia State University and do all the fun stuff that we do, but I'm grateful to Chester Phillips and Georgia State University for giving me the chance to share some things with you live from my back porch in McDonough, Georgia, or at least it's live right now. In getting ready for this, I was just thinking back over the fact that for me this year, this reset year, which is what I'm calling it, when everything seems different. This is my 26th year on staff at the school where I've been teaching since I graduated from college. And then there were 4 years before that where I studied music in college, and all those years before that in junior high and high school. And I was thinking about, why have I done it so long? What is it about this that makes me just come back again and again? And immediately what comes to my mind is the people with whom I have shared music, and the kids who marched next to me in high school, and the ones that I studied with in college, and the people that I've taught with, and the students that I've taught, and all the wonderful memories we have of making music together and sharing music over the years. You know, I've realized that it can't be the trophies that keep us coming back. Those pieces of metal and wood that we put on a shelf and we never see them again, that can't be it. It can't be being told that we're number one. I think in reality, it's the wonderful music that we make and the relationships that we build. And so with that in mind, I just want to talk to you briefly about leading and about influencing others within this culture that we live in. And so the first thing I want to suggest to you is that leadership for us, intentional influencing of other people, is, if nothing else, what did I say just a little while ago? Relational, which means that we have to, everybody say it with me, relate to others. And so I want to give you some suggestions, and I want you to write these down, and I want you to follow these as if they were assignments, because if all you do is listen to me, then boy, did I ever waste my time. So here's where we begin. The first thing I want you to do is this. I want you to make a list of all the things for which you are grateful as it pertains to your band program. And I think, you know, a lot of you, if you've ever heard me before, you've heard me talk about when I was a kid. And you have to dig deep to find this in your soul. You know what I'm talking about. But my mom was a school teacher. She worked 3 jobs, went back to school to take care of me and my brother by herself. When I was going to high school to marching band, I remember going in, and my trumpet the lacquer was coming off of it. It was an older horn. My mom says, "Babe, you're going to need a new trumpet." And I never would have asked for one, because I knew the sacrifice that would have required. I said, "Mom, I wasn't going to ask for one." And she says, "Well, I've already taken care of that." And she opens up the trunk of her car, and there was my very own silver box Strad trumpet. And I remember just immediately the sense that I had when I saw it of the sacrifice that had been made. And I began even then to keep record of the things that I was grateful for. And so I have these little brown notebooks called moleskins, where I write what it is I'm grateful for, and I break it down into the most infinite details, or the most finite details. I'm grateful for the field, grateful for the way that it looks before we are on it. I'm grateful for the way that it looks when we're on it. I'm grateful for the opportunity that they give me to step across those white lines that surround our field and be a part of all of that. I'm grateful for my friends that I'm there with. I'm grateful for the music that we make together. I'm grateful for the cool air in the fall. I'm grateful for Friday nights under the lights. I'm grateful for the heat and the way that it motivates me. I'm grateful for the people who march around me. I'm grateful for the people who play with me, for their skill and their talent. And so what I want you to do is to begin now making your list, and get yourself a little notebook or a piece of paper, and just start jotting it down. Here are the things that I'm grateful for in 2020, in the year of the reset. And I want you to keep track of every single detail. The way the bus smells on a Friday night, even though we all know that it can be bad. The way that it feels walking into the stadium. The way that it feels when we all just swell up together and it plays so well and it's just incredible. The way the crowd sounds. What it feels like when you hear that guy say, "On the field." You know what I'm talking about? The way that it feels when we walk off together at the end. We leave the field for the last time in November. That gut-wrenching feeling. All those things that we're grateful for. I want you to start that list now, and I want you to carry it with you everywhere you go. I want you to stick your name in it, and your email, and your phone number on the front. so that if you lose it, somebody will give it to you and find you. And I want you to keep that list running. At the end of this season, I want you to look back over that list, hopefully a notebook full of things that you're grateful for. And I want you to keep it for years to come so that you can look back on this year. The second thing I want you to do is this, and this, for some of you guys, is going to be hard, but I'm asking you to do it anyway. This is going to sound goofy, but it's a great way. It's a great starting point. I want you to sit down, and I want you to pick 5 people, maybe in your section, maybe just in the band. And I want you to think about the things about them that you have missed or that you would have missed. And I want you to just write short, honest sentences. I miss your laughter. I miss your smile. I miss the way you play your instrument. I miss spending time with you. I want you to sit down and write those things out, even just the goofiest stuff. I miss the way you pick on me. I miss being a part of your world. I want you to make that list on a piece of paper. I want you to fold it up. I don't want you to put it in an email because that's too easy, and they may write back and tell you that you're just goofy. But I want you to write those things down. I want you to take that list and put it in their mailbox, or I want you to mail it to them. I want you to make sure that they have it in their hand. 5 people. I want you to be real and honest and authentic. Guys, I know that's hard for some of you. I'm asking you to step out on a limb and do it anyway. You'll be amazed at what a difference it makes. Here's the next thing on my list of things that I want you to do. Some of you have done this exercise with me before. I want you to think about 3 defining moments in your life. I'll give you mine really quickly. The first one would be when I was 17 years old. I was in high school, and my granddad got cancer, and we went to take care of him, and then he died. And I remember how much it changed me because he was my hero. And then I would have to say there was a moment that my wife agreed to marry me. It was just amazing that there was a woman who wanted to spend more than 5 minutes in my presence. And it changed me forever for the better. And then, I don't talk about this much, but I'm comfortable telling you, my wife and I, we lost a little boy at 6 months. It made me very different. It was one of those moments that defined me in a lot of ways. But then there was also that moment when my 2 other babies were born, and I was trying not to cry and laugh and blow snot bubbles and sing, and just, it was so amazing because I'm watching somebody draw their first breath. And so, in a nutshell, what I just did was gave you some defining moments in my life. Those are part of my story. What I want you to do is to put together your defining moments, and I want you to sit down with somebody in your section or somebody in your band. Pick 2 or 3 people. I want you to tell them your 3 defining moments, but I want you to get them to tell you theirs, and I want you to listen intently. Because as leaders, one of the things you've got to figure out how to do is to make everyone else's story matter. If you ever get a chance, go step back and look at your band, and you'll see 100 different stories, all worth telling. And we have to figure out how to elevate those people around us and to make them matter. Because the truth is, you as the section leaders and as the drum majors, as the color guard leaders, your stories always get told because everybody knows who you are. Now it's your turn to do that for somebody else. So make a point of sitting down with somewhere between 3 and 5 people in your section and finding out what are their defining moments. Take a sectional time. Take part of a day and do this. The next thing I want to ask you to do, and this one's a little tough, but I want you to come to a point where you disagree well. If you think about those people that disagree with you, that may not like you, that are in conflict with you in your organization, how do we handle those folks? And I never talk about this in my leadership sessions. But I want to talk to you about it because this is very real these days. I want you to learn how to disagree well. The first thing I want to suggest to you is that I want you to be hard on your own opinions. That requires you to be humble. It requires you to examine your own heart, and it robs you of the arrogance that keeps you from being able to sit down at the table across from someone who isn't like you. Believe it or not, you can do that, and you can look at them and say, we aren't the same. We don't agree, but I choose to respect you, and I choose to love you. And I think that we can take the best of us and put that together and do something wonderful. And I know that's true because I've listened to your bands play. Some of you I've seen on the field, I've seen you on the stage, and I think to myself, they're not all alike. They're not the same color. They're not the same faith. They're from different backgrounds, but look at how gorgeous what they're doing is. And that's what we do. That's how we disagree well and respectfully. It will require you to be humble. It will require you to be patient. It will require you to listen. It will require you to seek to understand rather than to be understood first. And it will require you to appreciate another point of view. I have so many friends who aren't just like me. The one that I think of sometimes the most that I just love is my friend David Roth. Some of you know as a band director in Cobb County. David and I don't agree on everything. We're not the same politically. We're not the same in so many ways. But I have so much respect for him. And when we talk and share ideas, even though we aren't the same, I think we are genuinely good friends and respect each other and love each other. And I love being around him. And I want you to get there. I want you to learn how to resolve those conflicts well. But it starts, really, with looking at your own heart and being hard on your own opinions before you go deal with someone else's. The next thing I want you to do over the course of these next few weeks is to consider the new kids who are coming. The freshmen who are coming into your band are coming into a world that is far different from the one that you did. But think back to when you were a freshman. Do you remember hearing seniors talk about, man, back in the good old days when this person was our drum major? Gosh, we were good then. You remember when that guy was clarinet section leader? Man, we were so good. Well, do you know who these freshmen are going to talk about? They're going to talk about you. When they're telling stories about the good days of the band program, they're going to be talking about you. So I want you to think about ways that you can make them matter coming in. My first suggestion is this. Sit down and write that freshman in your section a note. Tell them what this band means to you and how glad you are that they're a part of it. Let me just tell you this, because they're young, they're not going to receive that the way that you want them to. They may read it and think that you're a little creepy, but I guarantee you it'll matter to them. And then I want you to follow up. When you're handing out music, when you're setting up the drum major podium, when you're painting the field, when you're taking out the trash or passing out water, invite them to be a part of what you're doing. Make them a part of your service team. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but it's an honor to be asked to serve. It's an honor to be included, and they will feel that, and they'll begin to follow you around, and they'll begin to serve and pass out music and water and take out trash and line the field. And then you know what happens? After you're gone, your legacy survives. And that culture is different because you invested in someone else. And 10 years from now, you'll come back, and your band director may not be there, and they won't remember your name, but that legacy of serving others, it will still be there. Because you chose to include a freshman. The last thing I want you to do, and this is a project that's going to take a bunch of you to do. Several years ago, I had some students that took a sheet, a big bed sheet, and they put it on the floor and they painted a music staff on it. They got really creative with the colors and the way that it looked, and across the top it said, "This is our song." And each one of them over the year got to go by and to put on that sheet what they wanted their legacy to be or what the band meant to them. And every now and then I'll pull that sheet out and unfold it and look at it, and I love what they wrote. There are things that are written on there that say, some kids just wrote, "Thank you." Some kids wrote, "This is my home. This is my safe place." Another kid wrote, "I'm so grateful that you let me be here. This is where I mattered. This is where I found what beauty was." What I want you to do is to take a giant sheet and make a music staff across it, and on the top put, "This is our song, the year of the reset." And one by one, you get to go make your mark on there. It has to be positive, uplifting, and authentic. But after that's over with, I want you to let it dry. I don't care if you use markers or paint, whatever works best for you. Let it dry. Then I want you to take it with you to competitions. I want you to hold on to it through the year. And at the end of the season, I want you to open up and look back at that sheet. I want you to give it to your directors as the year of the reset. And I promise you it'll be powerful and it'll have some meaning that you'll always love, and take pictures of it. To this day, I get asked questions, when can we go back and look at that? that piece of our memory. Can you take a picture of that sheet and let us have it? I want you to do that this year. And I want you to stay in touch with me. And if you've got ideas and things that you need to talk about and stuff that you want to bounce off of somebody, I want you to send me an email, mccord.matthew@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook or wherever you want to find me. And I also want you to remember this. Some of you know this. Every time I walk into the leadership huddle at the school where I teach, I walk into the middle and I look at those kids and I say, hey, once my band, and they always say back to me, always my band. So today, in this place, in this year of the reset, what a great time for us to start over, for us to look at our own bands and to say, hey, even now, once my band, always, always my band.